Rescuing the Republic, the Future of Democracy in India, organized by the Department of English, St. Joseph's College of Commerce. On this momentous occasion, representing the Department of English, I would like to welcome our Principal, Father Charles Lasrado S.J., our Registrar, Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan, Vice Principal Shift 1 and Shift 2, Dr. Ruxana Anjum and Dr. Veenu Joy, respectively. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to the heads of the various departments, faculty members and non-teaching staff. A special welcome to our participants and esteemed members of the media whose presence amplifies the significance of this gathering. Before we proceed, I would like to invite Mr. Jeffin Liju, faculty from the Department of English, to lead us in a prayer.
Let's close our eyes and spend a few minutes in silence. Feel the divine amidst us. O divine, we thank you for this new day. We thank you for the gift of life. Our humble prayer today is where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. Enlighten our minds and bless our conversations today. Amen.
Full prayer. We now proceed to the inauguration of the event with the lighting of the lamp. I request Ms. Nikita, faculty from the Department of English, to escort the dignitaries to the lamp. Now, I would like to invite our principal, Dr. Charles Lasrado S.J., to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. On gauging the trajectory of Indian democracy in 2019, the Department of English at St. Joseph's College of Commerce initiated the Republic Day lecture series to serve as a platform for dialogue and interaction among the public, civil society, and academia. This series reflects our commitment to fostering public participation in strengthening democracy and pluralism in our nation. Over the past 5 years, the department has successfully organized interactive sessions featuring renowned public intellectuals addressing contemporary socio-economic and cultural challenges faced by the country. Today, we are honored to have with us Dr. Parakala Prabhakar delivering a lecture on Rescuing the Republic, the Future of Democracy in India. On behalf of St. Joseph's College of Commerce, I extend a warm welcome to you, Dr. Parakala Prabhakar. A cordial welcome to our esteemed professors, researchers, civil society representatives, and media persons. Additionally, a warm welcome to all the faculty members from St. Joseph's institutions, HJCC faculty, and students. A warm welcome to you all. Congratulations to Mr. Vinay Kambipura, HOD of English, and the entire Department of English for hosting a talk on a topic most relevant to our times. Wishing you all an engaging and thought-provoking session. Have a great day.
Thank you, Father, for the warm welcome. As we near the 75th Republic Day celebrations and given the prevailing situations in the country, it is important to revisit the core principles of democracy enshrined in our Constitution and critically assess the idea of the Republic. It is an honor to have with us today Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, the Indian political economist and social commentator, to incite in us the need for collaborative thoughts and concerted action towards preserving the essence of the Republic. He needs no introduction, but as the protocol dictates, I would like to request Mr. Vinay Kambipura, Head of the Department of English, to introduce our guest speaker to the august audience and also present the concept note for today's event.
Good morning, everyone. As we approach yet another general election, Indian democracy faces several challenges in the form of religious fundamentalism, majoritarianism, communal disharmony, regional disparity, economic and social injustice, and ecological crisis. The foundations of the Republic will be tested not just on the plank of electoral politics, but more importantly, in the realm of cultural politics. For it is cultural politics that has undergone a drastic change in the past 2 decades. By budding imaginative discourses on democracy, pluralism, justice, and secularism. Identity politics and the cronyism now dominate the politics of the country, precluding any possibility of a humanist reform as dreamed by Gandhi, radical social justice as dreamed by Ambedkar, and an equitable society as dreamed by Nehru. How then do we rescue the Indian Republic from the cesspool of communal hate and injustice and imagine an alternative future to the country? This public lecture, titled Rescuing the Republic, the Future of Democracy in India, to be delivered by Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, intends to outline some key directions for collective thinking and action in the face of an existential threat to the Indian Republic. Dr. Parakala Prabhakar studied at JNU and the London School of Economics. He was the communications advisor to the government of Andhra Pradesh between 2014 and 18 and held a cabinet rank. He is currently the MD of Rightfolio, a knowledge enterprise based in Hyderabad. He is also a widely read columnist on current affairs and has a popular YouTube channel, Midweek Matters, where he discusses issues related to India's politics, economy, and contemporary society. His latest book, The Crooked Timber of New India, Essays on a Republic in Crisis. This is a very formal introduction of Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, but having interacted with him for the past 3 years, I would like to introduce him with a metaphor. If we consider Indian society as a body, as an organism, and if we consider what is happening as some kind of a disease, we need diagnosis to understand what is happening, what has gone wrong, and we need a good diagnostician. And I think we have that in Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, to look at the past and figure out what has really gone wrong. And not just that, we need a prognosis. We need to know what is the course that this will take. And I don't think there's any better person than Dr. Parakala Prabhakar to do this for us. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, and I request Dr. Charles Lasrado to present him with a small token of our appreciation. I think we're all eager to listen to Dr. Parakala Prabhakar. The stage is yours.
Now they have abandoned me, I'm on my own. Thank you very much. Reverend Father Charles Lasrado, my friend Vinay, dignitaries in the hall, and my dear students. It's a very comfortable hall. I like it. And usually, wherever I go and speak, after the address is over, after the meeting is over, towards the end, I'm given a book or something like that. Here, Father had given me much before I started. I got some books. Thank you very much, Father. You know, I must tell you that I'm extremely happy to be here with you. And when I say that, I'm not just saying it as a formality. I really mean it. I must say a couple of things about me. I come from a family in which a lot of people have gone to jail because they opposed the British rule. My father was in Ballari jail during the Quit India. And after independence also, my parents were underground for quite some time. I think for about 2 years, my father had shoot at sight orders on him. Because that time there was an armed revolt against the Nehru government. He was in that political stream. My grandfather, my uncles, my aunts, they all went to jail and underground. And then afterwards, my father became a leader. In the sense, he went to the assembly, he was part of 3 or 4 cabinets in the state of Andhra Pradesh. My mother also became a legislator. And some of my relatives, and they were in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. And my father's friends, some of them were again ministers, and some of them were chief ministers, and one of them became the Prime Minister of India. Another colleague of my father became the President of India. And many of them have become governors and, very important people. Are you impressed? Yeah. I said all this not to impress you, but to say that because I had the fortune of being in that family. I've seen many people who held important positions in this country's political structure. And I've seen places where we all think that important decisions are being made for the country. So because I had this privilege of knowing these people, my father used to take me, as when I was growing up, to take me to many of these places. I had seen, since my childhood, I had seen assembly, because my father used to go and I used to sit on the gallery and watch. And I used to go to the secretariat. I used to go to Raj Bhavan. Used to go to Chief Minister's offices. I went to Rashtrapati Bhavan when Sri Neelam Sanjeev Reddy was the President of India. Of course, I went to the Prime Minister's office when Mr. Narasimha Rao, because he was also my father's friend and colleague. I went and saw the Prime Minister's office, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, Rashtrapati Bhavan, all these places. You know, when I had a bit of a consciousness, one question used to come back to me often into my mind. That is, well, you know, people are very busy, they're important. Lots of people are waiting for them, to meet them, to talk to them. So this must be a very important place. But then one question used to come to my mind repeatedly was, is nation building happening here? In the assembly, in the secretariat, in Raj Bhavan, in Rashtrapati Bhavan, in Prime Minister's office, in Lok Sabha, in Rajya Sabha. I found, I must tell you this, no evidence of nation building happening anywhere in these places. The only place where I found solid, concrete evidence of nation building is classroom. That is the reason why I like coming to colleges, schools, institutions of learning and places like this. And that's why I like you. That's why I like all these people, fathers, Reverend Fathers, Subhashini ma'am, and all these people, because these are the nation builders. Don't think that people who go and get up onto the dais and give speeches, they are not the nation builders. These are the people who are the nation builders, and you are the nation. I want you to understand. I'll make it. I'm not trying to lecture you. I've not come here with this illusion of, telling you something which you already do not know. I know you are very bright. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You're very privileged. You know everything that I'm going to say. The only thing I'm here to tell you is to see all these things that I'm going to say, what you already know, in a context. I'm going to, juxtapose them. This and this and this and this. Probably some of you might have missed the connection. I'm going to provide you today with that kind of a connection. That's all. That's what I'm going to say. I'm under no illusion that I know a lot of things which you do not know. I'm going to come and tell you this. There's not going to be no revelation at all in what I'm going to say. So, you know these things. Sometime back, do you read newspapers? No, you don't read. Don't lie. Why are you lying? Okay, please don't listen to, what they say. We have a conversation. You are here only, just to, because you do. Not you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the children. What I suggest is that, sometimes when you go to buy something in a shop, they wrap it up in a small piece of newspaper. Once you take what you bought out, just see what's there in that small thing. Sometimes try that. After that, you can go back to your Insta, you can go back to your FB, you can go back to your Twitter, you can go back to your online and all that. But once in a while, just see what's there. Will you? Once, I also don't read much newspapers, to tell you. Don't tell anybody. They think that, I read a lot of newspapers and all that. I don't. I'm like you, in a way. So, once I picked up a newspaper, this kind of a small piece, Then I saw a news item. I saw the headline. The headline was a bit attractive to me. It said there was some disturbance in UP and Bihar. Some youngsters were, fighting with each other, pushing and trying to get into the train. So I got curious. Manu sir, I got curious and I read the second paragraph. The second paragraph said they were trying to get into the train to go to and write an exam. Normally people run away from writing an exam. Here are people trying to fight each other to get into the train to go and write an exam. That is curious, very surprising to me. So I thought, why are they fighting to get into a train to write an exam? Then the next paragraph told me that they were trying to go to a place to write an exam for a job. Yeah, that's the reason why they are fighting. Then I read the next paragraph because that's leading me to, it's making me more and more curious. That is the benefit of reading a small bit of newspaper when you buy something. So then the next paragraph said that they were writing the exam is for a recruitment into the railways for jobs which were called this is sometime around 2022 beginning, January or February, I don't remember exactly. They were going to write an exam to get into jobs which were termed as NTPC jobs, non-technical preferred categories. Does it sound very important? Non-technical preferred categories, NTPC. It means, don't be fooled by this kind of terminology. It means simply menial manual jobs, non-technical, which means you don't need to know anything. It's just 10th standard or something like that. But they want to make it sound quite nice. What are you? I'm into non-technical, NTPC. What do you do? You don't have to do anything, or you don't need any particular skill. But in order to say that in a very nice way to make people feel better, they say non-technical preferred categories. Then, unfortunately, the piece of paper ended there. Actually, there was, but then it ignited some curiosity in me. So I came home and then, what do? You search. Do you? Of course we all do. We searched. Then I got the full story. That's how, I went to look for what is exactly happening. I got to know that 35,000 NTPC jobs were advertised in the beginning of 2022. 35,000 NTPC jobs. And the number of applicants were 1,25 lakhs for 35,000 NTPC jobs. Imagine, for 35,000 jobs, 1,25 lakhs youngsters were competing, fighting. You can imagine why they are pushing each other to get into the train. That is India for you. India today has the highest number of unemployed among the youth. It is, if you want, people are interested in data, percentages, figures. Are you? You like them? Some people like it, some people don't like it. But for those people who like this kind of numbers and all that, I'll give you some numbers. I'm not very fond of those numbers, but then I'll give you. But just for you to get it. 24% is the youth unemployment rate in India. 24. 24 out of every 100 young people are unemployed. We are in the company of Iran, Syria, Lebanon. These are the countries we are in the company of. And a small neighbor, Bangladesh, has only 12% of youth unemployment. In our country, not only that there are a lot of young people who are not able to find jobs, who are unemployed, but a lot of them are also unemployable. Because there's not much of a training. When you are in Bangalore, you would know, most of the big employers, they say, look, we take these people, they're from engineering colleges, they're from business management colleges, especially, they come, but we need to train them for another 6 months, 8 months or 1 year for them to do the job. The colleges are not giving them the actual skill. And once, the world is very different. When I was growing up, and, people in the front row, when they were growing up, I'm sure, that you study and you get into a job and you retire, that's all. In between, you don't have to learn anything. It's over. After you leave the college, you can just say, finished, over. You don't have to open a book again, ever in life. But today, that's not the case. Today, you between the time you get into a job and the time you retire, you need to upgrade your skills at least 6 to 7 times. Otherwise, you're out. Retirement is not the problem today. Becoming irrelevant is the problem. People get out of it because they become irrelevant. They can't do anything anymore. It's not because, they are 62, 60, 65, now I'm retiring. Those days are gone. You can become irrelevant at the age of 35. So that is, but, we are not equipping. There is training, skill. There are countries, where 90% of the labor force is trained from time to time. Some countries 65, some countries 75, some countries 85. What is the skilling percentage in our country? You want to take a guess? You won't be wrong. Just try. 5%. That is the kind of low level of skilling that is happening in India. So a large number of our young people are unemployed. A large number of those who are unemployed probably are unemployable. They are not adding much to the value of the economy. They are not as productive as they ought to be. So, which means that we are just leaving a huge amount of our demographic dividend unutilized. This is the kind of thing that we have today in our midst. We need something to address this. But today, the Republic is looking at something else. I'll come to that. And, you know, the economy, because if this is the large section of young people who can contribute to the economy, are not able to contribute, are not able to get the opportunities to contribute, are not able to get the opportunities to train themselves to contribute, how will the economy do well? But we have this continuous propaganda, Father, that ours is the fastest growing economy. We have overtaken that country and this country. And if you put me back again at the steering, I'll make this country third largest, second largest, first largest, the largest, or even if you have anything else, all that. This is the kind of propaganda. But you know, see, we at least we, you know, we know things and we can know things, we can access information. We don't have to be fooled by this. At least we, isn't it? The government today is doing two things to the Republic and to the young people. I mean, Republic is what? When I was studying, a professor of mine, somebody like Manu Chakravarti, very well-read person, he told me one anecdote about Gandhiji. It stayed in my mind. I want to share that with you. Gandhiji, he was sitting with some people and talking in a small village once. And then, very important, by that time independence had come and, the government, Indian government is already there in place. And one or two important people in the government have come to talk to Gandhiji. They used to come and talk to Gandhiji once in a while. Then when Gandhiji was sitting and talking to some common people, those two big people came, important people for the Republic, and said, Gandhiji, we wanted to talk to you. Then he said, Baito, come, sit down, talk. No. This is something important. We want to talk to you privately. No problem, you talk. Then they said, look, Gandhiji, this is so important. It's a matter of state. It's about the Republic. Gandhiji said, look, these are the Republic. I'm sitting with the Republic. These people are the Republic. You don't have to say anything to me privately. If it is about the Republic, talk to us together. We are all Republic here. So that is the reason why you're all Republic. We're all Republic. This Republic is not given by the government the actual, authentic data about what is happening in the economy. Sometime back, you had elections here. That time I was closely following the campaigns and all that. I remember the Prime Minister came here and campaigned very vigorously, very extensively. In one of the meetings, the Prime Minister had said, these opposition people had abused me for 99 times. Not 100, not 98. 99 times. Very precise. You see? That kind of a precision we need. But if you ask them, how many people are unemployed? No idea. How many people died during the COVID? No idea. How many ventilators are there in the hospitals? No idea, no data. How much black money was there? No idea. How much black money did you bring back from the Switzerland and Swiss bank? No idea, no data. So no data on anything, but 99 times I was abused. Precise. So, which means that the Republic's priorities are very different. The people who are running the Republic, their priorities are very different. They keep count, they know how to count. But they want to count only certain things and they don't want to count the other things. You ask anything which really matters about the Republic, about the condition of the people, no data. And you know, we have this Right to Information Act. Are you aware of that? This information cannot be shared. That's the only one-line reply you get after months and months of waiting and applying repeatedly. But how many times am I abused? Precise. See, you can't abuse a person 0.25 times. That is why it is 99. Otherwise, it could have been 99.31, you know. But that was not possible. So there are no half galis. So every gali is a gali. So one. So they probably rounded it off. That is the kind of republic that we are living in. But the government tells us a different story. And of course, when you have so many people unemployed, when you have no skill, when you had a pandemic, in which one of the quarters, the growth rate was minus 23%. Madam, you remember? And now, but we have pulled 29 crore people out of poverty. That's what they say. You know, I'll give you, people who are interested in this economics and this kind of a number crunching and all that, after you go home, when you have nothing else to do, just try this exercise. In 17 or 18, what is the gross, maybe one of the economics departments can have a look at this. What was the gross domestic product of India in, say, 2019 or so, 18? Because 19 it was slowing down. When it was okay, not even slowing down, maybe 18. Actually, 18 is also not a very good year because you already had the demonetization, absolutely thoughtless demonetization. I'll also talk about that in a while. And what is it today? If it was 100, and then if it is 200 today, maybe you can say, yeah, we are growing. But if it is not so much, then if you are not growing so much, if you have not grown so much, how is it that when you are not running, how did you overtake the other guy? I want to know. This is something which is puzzling me for a long time, sir. I can understand. I'm running at 60 kilometers an hour. Now I'm running at 80 kilometers an hour. I've overtaken. I can understand. But if I've been running around, say, with 30 kilometers an hour and still continue to run at least maybe 30 kilometers an hour or even 25 kilometers an hour, how did I overtake somebody? How is it possible? Is it possible? Anyway, that's propaganda. When these things are happening, people like me, who have not much of a work to do, I look into the data, whatever available. And then I find sometimes the government, they don't know what they're giving out. Sometimes they also give out information in the Lok Sabha. Sometime back they gave out this information that a lot of people, somebody asked, I think probably the question was worded so cleverly that the government had thought probably, it's a very harmless question, and so they've given the data. Thousands of people have been relinquishing the citizenship of India. A growing number. I'll give you, I don't want to bore you with too much of a data, but I'll give you some of the, in some years, what happened was that in 14, 120,000 people have given up. They've relinquished. This is not people who are going abroad. A lot of people are going abroad. But people who said, I don't want Indian citizenship. Relinquishing Indian citizenship was 129,000 sometime around 2014. 19 it was, I'm skipping, I don't want to give you all the data, but in 19 it was 144,000. 22 last year, before last year. The recent figures, they've shut up because I keep on saying this, there's some danger here. So no more data after 2022. 2022, 225,000 have said, I don't want this. And most of them are high net worth individuals. They're called HNIs. They are the ones who invest. Notwithstanding what the captains of industry tweet or say, and, give a bite, they are not interested in investing in India anymore. Because what used to be the private investment in, say, about 10 years ago, is now much lower than that. It used to be about 31%, it is now only 19%. And domestic savings are contracting. Domestic savings now are contracted to about 5%. It used to be 19%. That is because you have a huge amount of inflation. Numbers really, they don't tell you much about inflation because you see, they might say it's only 6% or 6.5%. How does it matter? What does it mean? It means that, you have to look at what was the price of a vegetable, price of a dal, price of oil, price of gas, price of fuel. What was it and what is it today? I'm sure most of us don't go to the market and buy things. There are other people to buy them, isn't it? Or do you? Do you know how much is a milk packet? Any idea? Where did you read? Oh, there's somebody who bought it yesterday, you see? That's what. Take a look at that kind of a thing. Sometime, once in a while, take a walk into the market, try and buy some vegetables, buy some fruits and, and things like that. And how much is a liter of petrol here? 102. Oh my God. When, there was a huge uproar when it was touching 100. How can it be 100? Now it's 102. It's okay. All right. I saw, I don't know how many of you remember, there used to be an uproar when dollar was crossing 60 rupees or touching 60 rupees. And then 80 rupees. How can it be 80 rupees? How much is it today? Oh my God, you're great. 83. But it's okay. 83. So what? We have other things to do. So 83 a dollar, 102 rupees a liter of petrol, milk, how much did you say? It's all right. It's okay. This is the kind of narrative. The reason why I'm saying this is that, when the economy is doing badly, prices are rising, savings are contracting, You know, the government figures of headline inflation is now come down. And the other day I saw in one of the very important newspapers that headline inflation is at an all-time low this quarter. What was the all-time low? Because that's the headline. And generally most of the people look at the headline and say, the economy must be doing very well. But, you know, because I have a lot of time, I read what is written there sometimes. All-time low. It used to be 6.5%. Now it is only 6.2%. Isn't it low? All-time low. It was 6.5, 6.5, 6.5, 6.4. Now it is 6.2. It's all-time low. But all-time low is unacceptably high. That's what the Reserve Bank of India says. Because they refuse to alter the repo rate and reverse repo rate, saying that the inflation is very high. It's unacceptably high. But then, that is the headline inflation, sir. Manu, food inflation is much more high. Health inflation is even higher. Education inflation is even higher. Fuel inflation is even higher. All these are unacceptably higher and higher and higher, but we are the fastest growing economy. I don't want to, give you too much of economy. Just because I studied economics, I don't want to show off. Leave that for a while. Look at the polity. Of course, we are living in New India. There's no doubt about it. The most important hallmark of the New India today is people, platforms, organizations who had absolutely no role at all in the long-drawn freedom movement of this country are marketing themselves as patriots. We are patriots. Whatever may be the thing, but we are patriots. Patriots what? I mean, you don't fight the British, but you're a patriot. You don't fight anything. You never went to jail to oppose the British, and you're a patriot. How is it possible for them to claim, and how is it possible for us to clap when they say that? But that is what is happening. We are a mother of democracy. Have you heard that? Have you? No, you've not heard. I'm asking you. Have you or have you not? You heard, okay. At least, at least one person should volunteer once in a while. I'm not expecting all of you to say yes and no and all that. It doesn't look nice. Just one. Okay? Come forward and say no or yes. So, mother of democracy, you've heard. I'll give you, there can be a lot of examples, you're aware. And have you heard of farmers' agitation? Why so many people are saying yes? Okay. Only one. Okay. You've heard. What was it about? It was about 3 laws, 3 acts were made by the Parliament of India about farm sector. And as you know, farm sector is the biggest economic sector in India, directly or indirectly impacting the largest number of people and the largest geographical area of the country. 3 laws, 3 acts were made by Parliament of India about this largest sector impacting the largest number of people in India. There was hardly 5 minutes of discussion on those bills. They became law. I'm not going into the merits or otherwise of those bills and laws and their provisions. That's a different debate. They could be good ones, they could be bad ones. Some of the provisions may be good, some of the provisions may be bad. That's a different thing. But we've elected a house of parliament in order for them to sit and discuss and debate. Especially when you pass a law or an act which impacts the largest number of people and the largest geography of India, isn't it? Is it a fair expectation? It is. But they don't discuss at all. It's just passed in 5 minutes. 5 minutes probably they took it out, to take the bill out and, to put it on the table and to read out and then just say, I know and all that kind of a thing. Just 5 minutes is over. And then some people, a lot of people, found that that was going to hit them hard, negatively. So they agitated. They said, no, these things are not acceptable to us. In a democracy, that's possible. But when they did that, what did they become? Anti-India. Do you remember? They were anti-India. They were terrorists. They were Khalistanis. And what else? They were Tukde gang. They were foreign agents. Agreed. Okay. Maybe they were, I do not know. Maybe the government really wanted to do good. When you are doing good, the government thought that there's no need of discussion. These fellows, they don't know anything. I know everything. And I've introduced these bills and passed them and, we're going ahead. And somebody is opposing, they're anti-national, anti-this, anti-that, Tukde, all that. Agreed. I was just watching. Then suddenly, just before Punjab elections, the Prime Minister says, we are withdrawing those bills, withdrawing those law, withdrawing those acts. Why? When you did that without discussion, some people opposed, you said they're anti-national, then you are saying yes and you're withdrawing. What does it mean? Okay. The story has not ended there. Then again the parliament is asked to come. They were all sitting. And the acts were withdrawn. They took 3 minutes to withdraw. No discussion. They didn't tell you why they wanted these acts in the first place. They didn't tell you why they were withdrawing. Absolutely nothing. So that is Parliament of India in the mother of democracy. This is the political thing. And I don't want to go into, somebody calling, what kind of names and what kind of language people are using to call each other to, you've seen all that. And just to, conclude this part of it, recently, how many MPs were suspended? Any idea? 147 members of parliament were suspended and a lot of bills and acts were passed. Because we are mother of democracy, you see. I want especially young people to understand, see, democracy is not going out into a polling booth once in 5 years and casting your vote. Democracy, the essential principle of democracy is governance by conversation, governance by discussion, governance by debate, isn't it? Am I wrong? Participation. Because all of us can't get into, although they've built a huge parliament, all of us can't get into it, because therefore we elect people and, they go and they debate, they discuss, they talk about it. And if you suspend, throw out nearly 150 elected people and then pass a law, how is it called democracy? So that is the kind of economy that we have. This is the kind of democracy that we have. And of course, you know about the elections and you know about all those things. I don't have to tell you about all that. But you know these things. Let me come to what is happening us as citizens. We are citizens of India. And that citizenship is unqualified citizenship in the sense that you don't have to belong to a religion to become a citizen of this country. Do you? You don't have to. You don't have to speak a particular language to become a citizen of this country, to continue as a citizen of this country. You don't have to belong to a particular region. You don't have to eat or not eat a particular food. You don't have to wear a particular dress to be a citizen of this country, isn't it? Or is it? It's not. So somebody agreed with me. But today, slowly and slowly, whom are you praying? Oh, you're praying that? No, you're gone. What are you eating? That? No. What are you wearing? This? No. What are you speaking? That? No. This is creeping up into our discourse in terms of citizenship of this republic. Are you aware of that? Are you feeling it? Yeah. So, on the economic front, we are in challenging times, we are in troubled times, we are doing badly, but, we are told that we are doing very well. In polity, I've described, you know all that, but we are told that we are a mother of democracy. And in republic, we have built over the years. You see, constitution is not made just by a few people sitting and say, let's do this, let's write that, let's get this, let's do. No. It has emerged from the values that we have fought for over 150 to 200 years during our freedom movement. It is informed by those values that we are all together. We accept each other. We are different, but we accept those, not even tolerate. Let's not be very patronizing. We are not tolerating. We have to accept. We are accepting that this country belongs to every one of us. It's not owned by people who practice a particular religion or speak a particular language, live in a particular region, eat a particular food, don't eat a particular food. No, it's not that. It's for everybody. But that is now under threat, and it has to be, economy has to be rescued, the polity and democracy has to be rescued, and citizenship has to be rescued. This is the kind of thing that we are facing today. I'll tell you something. How many of you have heard G20? Yeah? Oh, a lot of them. I'll tell you, just you compare notes. I'll tell you what my impression was of G20 and what your impression is. Just let's compare. Let's compare notes. When I look at, in the airport, on the petrol station, when I open the, social media, when I'm driving on the highways, everywhere I saw huge hoardings of G20. Have you? I got the impression that, what is this G20? I didn't know what it was before. Then I got this impression that somehow the most important leaders of countries in the world, like United States, United Kingdom, France, China, Russia, Brazil, and all these people, African countries, they all got together and said, look, we just don't know what to do. We are lost. World is facing so many problems, crises. What do we do about this? Then somebody said, look, we don't know, we have no clue. We have to go to Vishwaguru. There is some country called India. They know everything. They will tell you. So they all came and they prostrated and said, look, please rescue us. Then we said, come, let's talk. So we called them. That's the impression I got. I don't know what impression was yours, but that was my impression. But then, I'm not somebody who can just sit down like that. So I thought, what is this G20? Then I came to know that last year they all came to Indonesia, and this year again they are all going to Brazil. And after that, they might go to some other place. Every place, after they meet, they'll say, where do we meet? When yesterday we went to Coconut Grove, and today we'll go to that place for a lunch, that kind of a thing. I mean, it's not that trivial, but anyway, they decide like that. So it is just a routine that they came from Indonesia to India, and then from here they went to Brazil. But we made a huge song and dance about it. Then we got the impression that, the entire world is at our feet. Please enlighten us, tell us. Manu, we are coming to you. Tell me, Father, tell us, what do we do? What do we do with climate change? What do we do with transportation? What do we do with that? What do we do with the oceans? What do we do with Ukraine conflict? What do we do with Syria? What do we do with Israel and Gaza? All those things. We assured them and they went away. That is the impression that I got. And then I also noticed a wonderful slogan. What was the slogan of G20? Any guess? Va Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. What does it mean? The whole planet is one family. The whole planet is one family. That's what we believe in. That's our creed. But not those fellows. Huh? Not Manipur. That's not our family. Not those people who eat that. No. Not those people who pray that. No. But the entire planet is one family. And then I tried to get, sir, Father, what is this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? Where did it come from? Then I found out that it is a sloka which was there in one of the Upanishads. Ma'am, you know? A very minor Upanishad. It's not one of the major Upanishads. It's not those 10 Upanishads on which Shankara has commented and all that. It's something called Mahopanishad. It's not Isa, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandukya, Taittari, Aitireyam, Chandokyam, Brihadaranyakam. It's not that. It's a small, probably, a later Upanishad called the Mahopanishad. It said only this. It said, Ayam nijaha paroveti ganana laghuchetasam udara chiritanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. It is a descriptive statement which said, people who reckon these as mine and those as not mine, para, are small-minded, laghuchetasam. For those with broad mind, the entire earth is one family. Now you know what it describes whom. But, they're fooling themselves and fooling us. This is what is happening to the Republic in terms of our citizenship. What they say is a different thing. That's propaganda, that's marketing. But what exactly is happening is in the economy, in the democratic field, in polity, and in our citizenship. Of course, there are states. I think in one good example is your state. You take the federal structure, the relation between the center and the states. They are federal structure, isn't it? We are not a unitary state. We are not a kingdom. We are a federation. The states also have rights. But today the states, with their own resources, they can't run the states. They have to look for the center to give them money. That is why this slogan of double engine sarkar, you elect my party there, I'll try to help you. Otherwise, you will be starving. You know, the central government today takes about a rupee. I'm just giving you just ballpark figures. They take a rupee from some states and give only 30 paisa back. And in some states, they take a rupee and give 3 rupees. Where? Double engine. So that is happening to our federal structure. So economy, democracy, citizenship, federal, religious, diversity, caste. This is the kind of danger that is staring, or even, which is there, afflicting this republic, and this republic needs to be rescued. That's exactly what I wanted to tell you. There's many other things. Probably we have time to, go into that in the Q&A, etc. But what I want is, I want young people like you. You are very privileged. Not many people come here. In the sense, not to this place particularly, but to this stage of education. How many people who are born go to, school? And people who go to school, how many of them go to secondary school? And of those who are going to secondary school, how many of them go to, high school? And after that, how many of them go to college? And after that, how many of them go to, degree and post-graduation from there? It's a small dwindling number. So therefore, you are very privileged. You have that kind of a knowledge, that kind of an opportunity to think, to see, to understand what is happening. And you also therefore have the responsibility to see that this republic is brought back to the path which was decided by our founding fathers and founding mothers in the Constitution. We are a democracy. We are a liberal country. We are a tolerant country. We accept diversity. That is the country to which we need to bring our path back. That is the reason why I wanted to come and talk to you. And my friend Vinay had given me an opportunity, father had given me an opportunity. You're all here, of course, I know what kind of a sacrifice it means for you to sit here for this long without touching your phone. Some of you have not touched the phones. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your exceptional words. I request Mr. Parakala Prabhakar to be seated on the dais, and I request Mr. Vinay Kambipura, who is also the moderator, to take his seat on the dais as we proceed to the question and answer session. Dear audience, a mic will be circulated, so please raise your hand if you have any questions.
A body, kind of a post-mortem. And there are a large number of students here, and thank you so much, sir, for putting it in a language that is so easily accessible to the students. It was wonderful listening to you, and I'm sure there are many questions. What we will do is we will collect 2-3 questions, and then sir will respond. We've created a policy this time around that we will give preference to the young crowd first. So if you have a question, you can raise your hand. And when you are asking a question, please introduce yourself first and then raise your question. And make sure that your question is brief so that there is more time for sir to respond to that question. Definitely. You can raise your hand so that I can see and then I can point out.
Good morning, everyone. It's our honor to have you, sir, here today. Thank you so much for very simple language and very understandable. Yes, please, yes. I'm Sakha Radha. I'm studying Masters of Arts and Peace Studies in Manipal University, and I have come from there to just listen to this lecture. Sir, I have a very simple question, which I'm sure that most of the youth ask me. We never reflected on it. So I want to know the rights of my citizenship as a youth. How should I know my rights? And how I have to be responsible, a responsible youth. Thank you.
We'll take two more questions and then...
Alexander, Professor of English from St. Joseph's, retired Professor of English from St. Joseph's Arts and Science, now St. Joseph's University. Just wanted to thank you for a very enlightening talk, a lot of matter for reflection. Just two questions. Are we heading towards some kind of theocracy? And one. And two, what is the relationship between Hindutva and Hinduism as you see it?
So you said that the economy was in a crisis,
Okay.
but BA. Yeah, so India's economy has been growing at 8.7% annually, and that's supposed to be one of the highest in the world right now. So how are we in a crisis?
Thank you, Aditya.
Yeah.
3 now, and then we can, if we have time, we can go a bit further. Ma'am, how do we know the rights of the citizens? I think the colleges and the universities should also think about this, because most people are not really being told about the citizenship and rights and responsibilities, what is happening in the society. Technical knowledge is important, but 100%, because we're also living in the society. So these things also need to be told. These things also need to be discussed in the educational institutions and in the society. Probably some of the civil society organizations and the NGOs should also try and talk to people and tell them about the constitution, the constitutional values, and what are the fundamental rights and what are the directive principles of state policy. How was the constitution made? What does it mean to be a citizen? These things have to be told. That of course is lacking. It wasn't this bad, maybe about a couple of decades ago, maybe even 30 years ago, probably. But progressively, people, came to this idea that, these are all unimportant things. What you need to know is technical knowledge. That's what is more important. It is important, of course. Of course, it is important. But this is not unimportant. This is something that we cannot really neglect completely and throw it out. This is something which needs to be brought in. So are we heading towards a theocracy? I do not know, because I do not believe in anything if somebody says that something is inevitable, I'm very uncomfortable with that. There is no inevitabilism. It all depends on what we want. Do we want a plural society? Do we want a tolerant society? Do we want a society that accepts diversity? Do we want a society that respects everybody? Or do we want a homogenization? Do we want that? See, the fundamental thing to my mind, Father, is this. What is your idea of India? Do you think, there are people who think that India is a country for the Hindus. Others have no presence. If you want, you can stay, but accept your subordination and then live. Will as a second class, yes. You can live. But accept the superiority, the domination, the suzerainty, and all that. That is one conception. And there are people who advocate that. They're very passionate about it. And there is another idea of India, that is, India is a country for everybody. It has been a country for everybody. A lot of people have been here. You know, they pray differently to different gods, they eat differently, they speak differently, their customs are different. But they're all Indians. This is another one. So now we are at a point, sir, that we need to decide and take a stand on this. What kind of an India do we want? Do we want this kind of India or that kind of an India? A choice has to be made. So if you make a choice that no, this country belongs to all, then you are stopping a juggernaut of people who try to make this into a theocracy, into a country which should belong, which is there only for people who practice one religion and practice that religion in the way that they think it should be practiced. Okay? So there is no inevitability. So Aditya, where did you get these figures? You see, Government of India tells these figures, but nothing. See, when with 24% youth unemployment, with so much of inflation, so much of unemployment, how are you getting these figures? I'll tell you what. We have data, authentic data from organized sector, which is a very small part of the Indian economy. Unorganized sector, ma'am, we don't have much of a data, no reliable data. But what the government has not been collecting this data also, but what the government has been doing is that they are extrapolating the trends of the organized sector into unorganized sector and trying to say that, if organized sector is growing like this, unorganized sector also probably would have grown like this, and they are extrapolating and trying to give us a figure which is completely undependable, unreliable, unscientific, and it cannot be really entertained as something that reflects the growth story of India. This is one. The second thing is that if, I'll have to tell you this, some time ago, I'll take a couple of minutes on this. Some time ago, how many people remember the World Hunger Index? Some time ago, there was that India was, quite low in the hunger index at what, 147, 120, 130 or something like that? 100? 154, yeah, something like that. And the government of India and the people who are in the government of India reacted very badly. Look, these people are out to, defame India, all that kind of thing. Yeah, probably. And I don't want to take the name. One of the very responsible ministers in the government of India said, while talking on a television show, defending India, and the minister defends India in the following way, saying that, these people, these World Hunger Index people, they have no methodology. They have absolutely no idea of what is happening in India. They have an agenda to defame India. And that minister gave an illustration. That minister, it seems, from Delhi, that minister that minister said, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, I had to rush to the airport, I rushed to the airport, took a flight, came to Bangalore, addressed a meeting, came to St. Joseph's and rushed away, went to Mumbai, addressed another meeting. From there, went to Pune by road, addressed another meeting, then came back to Delhi. And in between, when I was chatting, I didn't have to have time to eat anything. And somebody calls me, my phone rings, and I take the phone, and the other side, the voice says, "Are you hungry?" I said, "I'm hungry." And they put the phone down, and they'll say, "Ingray is hungry." It's not done that way. It is not done that way, for God's sake. There is a methodology. You can find fault with any methodology, but there is a methodology. It's not, called like that, and it's not that. But what is interesting, what is important is this: if the government of India, if the ruling party and the leadership of this country really feels that there is no hunger in this country, and World Hunger Index is out to defame India, in just under 2 days' time, the Prime Minister announces that, free food grains will be given to 82 crore people in this country for the next 5 years. Why? If everybody is full and they just can't eat anything more if they're not hungry, why are you giving 82 crore people food grains free of cost for the next 5 years? It's not even 1 year I'm giving, and then at the end of the first year I'll assess that if it is necessary, I'll increase that, I'll extend that to another 6 months or 8 months or 1 year. No, at a time, 5 years of free food grains to 82 crore people in this country where there is no hunger. That is the kind of reality, and that is the kind of propaganda that we are in. Aditya, are you there?
We talk of paradoxes in poetry, and I believe we are living in a paradox. No?
Sorry to interrupt you, Vinay. It's not poetry. It is drama, theatre, where the foundational principle is suspension of disbelief. Isn't it? When you come and sit in the theatre, what do? First thing is that you are told to suspend your disbelief and then watch the show.
In fact, that's what we are doing. We are a language department, but we end up spending a lot of time discussing politics, because politics has become this kind of a drama. Okay, we have time for another round of questions. Please raise your hand there.
Aaron from first year BCom. So I wanted to ask your personal opinion on our tax distributions. So I have a chart over here that says that every 100 rupees that a state pays in tax, and how much they're getting in return in terms of government expenditure. So all South Indian states are getting much lesser than the North Indian states, at least half the time. And all North Indian states, after Madhya Pradesh, are getting more than how much they give. So what is your opinions on that?
Okay, thank you. There.
We all know our rights, and we know the constitutional rights that we as citizens we have to exercise. But when we are supposed to be exercising, there's so much of intimidation. And not only that, there is always a power which silences you. In an environment like this, how do we exercise our right?
Thank you. Can we have the...
I want you to spend some time on the terrible, tragic, pathetic state of the Indian judiciary. I mentioned 3 things. I won't give you all details because you can magnify that. One is the case relating to Bilkis Bano. And the Prime Minister's office reportedly being a great accomplice. Second, the manner in which the Election Commission is going to be subverted. Third is the reference to Article 370 of Kashmir. And in all these, the absolute silence of the court, with, of course, exceptions like Justice Nagaratna, and that the Chief Justice of India seems to have caved in. And I will draw attention to what you would certainly have observed, the objections raised by one of the senior most advocates, Fali S. Nariman, saying how the Supreme Court has erred. But you see, the whole problem again of the republic is that the judiciary, one of the pillars, justice, the concept, equality is a different matter. You can mystify, you can create a muddle out of figures, unless people like you point out. But the fundamental tenets and the pillar, that's judiciary. Because I am only thinking of the manner in which the judiciary asserted itself, even at the level of the High Court, and one of the great judges was Lentin Bhaktawar, Bombay High Court. In fact, it was a major confrontation with the legislature. In fact, Nariman and others stood by. It was a major confrontation between the judiciary and the executive and the legislature. What kind of a republic do we foresee when the autonomy of the judiciary is being sacrificed by those who are to protect the judiciary itself and not to spare the Chief Justice of this country? So I would like you to spend some time, and that's why I've given 3 or 4 illustrations. Thank you.
Question first, because that will be illuminating, and then I'll talk. Well, then I must stand up and introduce myself. I'm Wing Commander Butt, Bishop Cottons, National Defense Academy, fighter pilot, Lanka War on Choppers, MSc Defense. Thank you. And after that, I must thank Dr. Parakala for a fabulous talk, very, very illuminating, and outside his book also, which I must get. I want to say a few things that in my line that I found right from my days in the National Defense Academy. I find a great lacuna in the colleges and schools, in the libraries when I go and look at them. There is nothing about the overall environment of geopolitics. At the age of 16, I was studying the principles of war and the geopolitics. So that's a huge, huge lacuna. The second lacuna is when we live in India, and a lot of people glorify ancient India, and they talk of Sanatan Dharma as a religion. It's a way of life, but you have to understand Sanatan Dharma. And if you want to understand what is going on right now, which is not there in the syllabus, you have to read what was Hedgewar's original concept when he created the RSS, and why are the fringe elements taken off in some other direction. In 2013, I was a chief guest on Independence Day at an RSS school.
Because of the paucity of time, if you could phrase the question, then we would.
Yeah, there's no question, only answers. So
you'll have some time to respond.
Yeah. So in 2013, when I was chief guest, I was received by 3 kids. One in Muslim dress, one in Hindu, one in Christian dress. So that was the concept of Hedgewar. Please read Hedgewar's vision, which was character building to free this country from the British, which were also milking the country in their own ways and doing some good also. So, having been to Sri Lanka in the war, what I am most afraid of, the youngsters are not being assertive. We must not have communal disharmony. And I have seen at close quarters how that beautiful country is still batting. I have a lot of hopes for India because we are not like that. And the youngsters must be assertive in every department and knowledgeable also to ascertain and retain this, what is the original ideals of India.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anya, and I'm in second year BCom. And my question is, if headlines are misleading and if sources are unreliable, then as citizens, what do we trust? Whom do we trust, and what potential indicators do we look for?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
My last question.
We'll be very brief, please, so that
Yes.
we have time for sir to respond.
According to your questions, the unemployment rate is very high compared to our neighboring states, neighboring countries. So what are the measures that we can take to reduce it, and why are we not reducing it if possible?
All right, thank you. Thank you. Response when sir speaks. You have the mic, so go ahead. That's it. Yes,
So,
go ahead.
I'm Shripriya from 1 BCom, and my question is, do you think that the freebies are a threat to India's economy?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Sir, namaste. I am one Mr. Puranik from Bhatkal, North Canara. Okay, my question is, Parakal sir told what are the governance and some defects, something which should have been and which is not in that expected legal correct
So
way.
question can be very brief. We have very less time.
My question
Pointed
is,
question.
many times whenever strikes and other elements are, I am my heart broken due to brutal forces being used. No, to make people out of the scene, it's okay if they are opposing it. But people running here and there to save their life, some elements which Lottie and other things, they are covering from every corner and harassing them. But I personally feel very bad. Why being educated, so much knowledge, everything, court intervention, humanitarian aspect, that one, this one, till nobody raises sorrow.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I would love to spend a lot of time. Maybe we'll have an occasion sometime later. But now I have to, conclude this and rush to the airport. That's also there. So, I mean, I'll have to do this as quickly as possible. And of course, that also compels me to be very brief, although, what Manu had asked me and, what Sanu had asked me, these things really require elaborate, detailed responses, but I'll try to be as brief as possible because I have to rush and we'll have another occasion to talk. About tax devolution, I've already said about, there were attempts. In fact, recently, when no Indian media house was prepared to publish a conversation that the former CEO of Niti Aayog said, and somebody recorded, no Indian media house was prepared to publish it, and it had to be published from abroad, from Al Jazeera or somebody, where the Prime Minister really wanted the 14th Finance Commission to not to increase the state's share to 42%, in fact, to reduce it. But of course, at that time, the chairman of the 14th Finance Commission with the spine, which is lacking, as Manu had very clearly said, in judiciary, and said nothing doing. This is either you accept it or you don't accept it. But he stuck to his guns because those people are people of integrity, and they had to do it. So, but even then, the government of India very cleverly finds ways to see that the devolutions to the states are either withheld or are very meager, much less than what they ought to get, according to the various finance commissions and formulas. That is happening, and this has to be resisted. That is because we have people in government and responsible positions who do not respect the tenets of federalism and sharing. And they have absolutely no regard for the constitutional norms, even judicial norms. When every institution, including the Election Commission of India, the Supreme Court, the High Courts, I don't know for what reason that they are compromised or they are under pressure or whatever it is. But the decisions that are coming, although in the body of the decision of the verdict, the logic is fine, and the logic, if you go by that logic, probably the operative part of it would be completely different. But then, having reasoned it out in such a way, there are many instances, you all know about it, but the conclusion and the operative part of the verdict says something completely different, opposite to what the reasoning is. That is the one which is implemented, everywhere with major decisions. That is one. Samantha talked about intimidation. Where is she? Yeah. See, thing is this, Samantha. Anybody who wants to subvert a constitution, if you and I point it out, they would like to get at us. They will try to threaten you, they will try to raid you, they will try to, send police or even their gundas, and but we need to stand up to this. There is no other way. There's no other way. As Manu had pointed out, even if you go to the court, the court may not really, in this particular atmosphere, it may not come to your rescue. But we need to stand up. We need to assert our citizenship right and say this is not done. And whatever little democratic space that we have today has to be completely utilized. That is the only thing that I can say briefly. And of course, I'll come to Manu's thing towards the end of it. Whom do we trust? Who's that? Sanu, yeah? Whom do we trust? Trust your lived experience, number one. All these 5.7, 2.7, somebody said, I think Aditya had said 7.6, how much? 8 point, oh my God, what is this? I'll tell you what, let me say this since I have a chance. You see, these percentages are really misleading. Suppose my income is 10 rupees last year, and this year my income increases to 20 rupees. Yep. Got it? And his income last year was 1 lakh, and this year it is 1,20,000. What is the percentage of my income increase? Growth? 100%. And his? I've grown 100%. This guy is only growing at 20%. Do you get me? So when an economy contracts to minus 23%, anything looks big. Anything looks big, and government says, look, we are 8, we are 9, we are 10, we are 7, we are 6. But from where? That is the question. Of course, this is all too many technicalities, but don't go by this as, as I said, it's more of lived experience. Whom do we trust? The Government of India's data is completely untrustworthy, it's unreliable, undependable, and they don't have data, they don't reveal data. But people like me these days, there is another data repository called CMIE. I don't know if anyone of you ma'am knows about this. Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. It's a premium you have to pay, but there are so many other data points which are also freely available in the same site. To look at them, you start monitoring the inflation and unemployment, employment, you get a lot of things about this, and especially the rural economy, the urban economy, cities and farms, and what is happening in agriculture. CMI gives, reasonably, they're still not compromised. I can tell you that, not yet. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but not yet. Today also, you can rely on that. This is one. Sir, Dr. Puranik, about strike, it goes to, very related to the intimidation kind of a thing. Our police force and our government, it all depends upon what the government tells the police force to do, and of course the police training. And we have a National Police Academy in Hyderabad, and one of the big dignitary who's also branded as the James Bond of India came recently to Hyderabad Police Academy, National Police Academy, and said, the main threat today, the main war zone, sir, you're a soldier, the main war zone today is the civil society. Did you hear this? See, they want to wage war against the civil society. If that is the kind of mindset the government and the police and the trainees and the big strategic thinkers have, now you see, these are the things that you get. oppressive, people are not allowed to protest, people are not allowed to come out in a procession and all that kind of a thing. So, Manu's thing needs a huge detailed response, but I'll try and make it very limited. Excuse me if I'm not very comprehensive, because for the paucity of time. And I'll try it up with your question on Hindu and Hindutva. Let me begin by that, because in the last tranche I've missed that. Hindutva is a political concept. It is not a religious concept. It is not a spiritual concept. We should be aware of that. Now there are, the proponent of the concept of Hindutva. I don't know how many people know, probably our soldier friend knows. His name is Savarkar, Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. I think we should read everybody. He very clearly is a self-declared atheist. Are you aware of it? And he defines Hindutva as not a religious concept, but as a nationality concept. Now, what does it mean? It means that people who are, we have to wind up, isn't it? 5 minutes, okay. People who are born here in this land, that is, and people who pray to the gods that are invented by this civilization, and whose sacred places are here. That is it has to be your Punya Bhumi as well as Pitru Bhumi. It's not Matru Bhumi. Pitru Bhumi. Fatherland. Where fatherland comes from? Yeah. So fatherland, Pitru Bhumi and Punya Bhumi. If it is your Pitru Bhumi, but your Punya Bhumi is somewhere in the west, no, you're not. If this is a kind of logic, if they want us to follow, the entire Southeast Asia, which is following, some sort of a Buddhism, where should they go? Because their Punya Bhumi is here, not there. Can they come back? Would you like to take them back? And if you're okay, if all of those people are thrown out from there, they just don't understand what this kind of a logic leads to. Where does it lead to? It leads to absolute, mayhem in the world, bloodshed in the world. So this is one. So, Manu, judiciary, don't tell this outside, I'm telling you. I'm just whispering to you. It's compromised. Completely compromised. I told you about the verdict, the logic in the writing and the operative part. Look at the Babri Masjid verdict, or later many verdicts. Then you have verdicts about J&K, Article 370. They're absolutely compromised. What the logic of their body, of the judgment, and what the operational part are completely at variance. This is what we see today. And the worst examples, Article 370, Babri Janmabhoomi, Ram Janmabhoomi, Babri Masjid, and Bilkis Bano. You have to also understand the symbolism. When we were starting the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, on that very morning, August 15th, that morning 2022, they are not accused, they are convicts, convicted of gang raping and murdering in Gujarat. They were released, and they could not have been released without the central government expressly telling them, please release them. And when they are released, they were welcomed with garlands and they were taken in procession. When recently that was found fault with by the Supreme Court, people are absconding. They were not caught. The government and the law enforcing agencies do not care to bring them back to the prison. That is the kind of India that we are living in. There's absolutely, and when CJI is excluded from the committee that selects the election commissioners and Election Commission of India, what mother of democracy are we living in? That is the kind of situation we are living in today. And you see, I'll conclude by saying this. In economics, there is something called a neoliberal approach, where the rich people should become rich because they will create jobs, they will invest, and slowly, myself and when I will also get some, it'll trickle down and we also get something. Because, we used to have about only 120 billionaires earlier. In 10 years, we have now 147 billionaires. Aren't you happy? So, you have to be happy with, 147 billionaires. You see, my country has 147 billionaires. I may be begging, but, I'm so proud that I have 147 billionaires in my country. So, when they become rich and they become powerful, slowly and slowly, because they are good people, after all, you see, they will create employment, they will start factories, they'll start businesses, and you will all get some employment. This is the political counterpart to that is, Hindus are very good, they are magnanimous, they won't harm you, just accept them and, try to follow them. Under their guidance, you will also prosper, you will also be taken care. They won't harm you, they're good people, they're nice people, magnanimous people. Therefore, in economy, you have some people who become big, stronger and stronger and stronger. They will look after the people who are weaker. And here in our social life, in our civic life, there's some people who follow a particular religion. It's theirs and their country. They will look after it. This is the kind of thing that is happening, Manu. I mean, I can't elaborate much more than this, but of course, these are serious concerns which we need to address. And, we need to reimagine the Republic once again. The time has come. And it is up to you. I'm sure, the impression, Vinay, that I've got and I'm carrying from this room is that this audience and your students are much more conscious than what you and I have thought before coming here. And the kind of questions that have come up from the students, I'm extremely happy with them. I really compliment you for this, your consciousness. And let me also tell you, after I speak to you, when I go, I'm going with a confidence that the Republic and its values are going to be really safe in your hands.
Thank you, sir. It was an absolute delight listening to you. And this is how we had envisioned this whole lecture series as a space for especially the young to discuss, to raise questions, to participate in this kind of a dialogue. And I must mention that this whole Republic Day lecture series, the architect, there are several architects. The prime architect is former HOD Professor Rajaram. He's seated in the audience. It was in fact his vision to have this Republic Day lecture series as a report card of the nation. I'm quoting him as a report card of the nation. And of course, we have other well-wishers of the lecture series. Professor Manu has been a constant companion, and the Department of Kannada has always been a constant companion in this lecture. And my former professor is here, Professor Cherian Alexander, who in fact groomed a lot of members in our department. This afternoon was a delight. There is a formal vote of thanks. But I thank you very much, sir, for interacting with the young brigade, if we can say. We are in Brigade Road. Responding to them, listening to them, understanding them, and speaking to them in a way that they understand. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable inputs. Thank you, Vinay. I now request Dr. Neeti, faculty from the Department of English, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon all. I'm delighted to express gratitude and deliver vote of thanks for the event. Foremost, on behalf of Department of English, St. Joseph's College of Commerce, I express my sincere thanks to our speaker of the event, Dr. Parakala Prabhakar, for taking out time from his busy schedule and engage the audience in a thought-provoking discussion. Sir, indeed, it was a pun-intended talk, and I'm sure the audience enjoyed it a lot. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed principal, Dr. Charles Lestrado S.J., the management for their unwavering support and encouragement, inspiring us to delve into stimulating issues and discussion. I extend my sincere appreciation to our registrar, Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan, vice principals, Dr. Ruxana Anjum, Shift 1, Dr. Veenu Joy, Shift 2, for their invaluable guidance and motivation. Special thanks are due to Father Praveen Martis and Father Joel for overseeing the budget and infrastructure management, respectively. I extend my gratitude to Reggie Sir and his team for the impeccable venue arrangements and not minding my frequent calls. Our thanks go to the head of the department, Mr. Vinay Kambipura, and all the faculty members, including Mr. Thomas Matthew, Ms. Vijay Shanti, Dr. Paulumi, Mr. Jeffin, Ms. Divya, and Ms. Nikita for their contributions to the well-organized and coordinated talk. The spirit of the department is well reflected in our dedicated student volunteers who executed the event flawlessly. Thank you, students. A special thanks goes to Dr. Raja Ram Sir and Manu Sir for their support and guidance in conceptualizing the talk and helping us throughout. A big thank you also goes out to all non-teaching, teaching, and support staff for their pivotal role in ensuring the smooth execution of the event. Your kind gestures and support are truly appreciated. Last but not the least, a resounding cheer goes to our wonderful audience who actively participated in the event and made substantial contribution during the Q&A session. The success of a talk like this is not possible without your intellectual engagement. Thank you for being an exceptional audience. Thank you, all of you, once again.
Thank you, ma'am. We have officially reached the end of the program. I extend a heartfelt gratitude to the management of the college for providing a forum to facilitate such intellectual discussions. A special thanks goes to the English department for their efforts in organizing and inviting notable figures to enlighten the audience on important social concerns. I am grateful to the participants for their relentless support in making this event fruitful. We close the annual Republic Day lecture series for 2024. If you wish to purchase Mr. Parakala Prabhakar's book, The Crooked Timber of New India, Essays on a Republic in Crisis, it is available for a discounted price near room number 406, right outside the exit door of Loyola Hall. Please also note that the refreshments are provided in room number 406. Thank you. Have a good day. Those who wish to collect their OOD, please collect it from the main registration desk. Thank you.